Path of Redemption. I'm a big fan. Path of Redemption brings about a fleshed out penance reward system, a teensy tiny step forward in the narrative, and quality of life changes all wrapped up in one gooey bundle.
Sticky surprise! Oh, that sounds bad.
It's been a while since we've seen signs of life in our favourite risk destruction simulator, so allow me to emulate the YouTube reactionary sphere as I poke the festering corpse that is Darktide as a live service. The DT design team have already jokingly shared their concerns about players blazing by map details without a second glance, and to be fair, it is quite difficult to pay attention to the effort and care put into things like environmental design when you're busy trying not to die at the hands of Tersham's least angry guard regiment. This update, at least for me, has come across a similar issue, all these well-crafted challenges to complete, not that one, outshined by the knowledge that you could one day stroll the Morningstar with a few snazzy golden words above your head. That is to say, there's more to this update than the bull-whipping experience of winning 5 Maelstrom matches in a row, so I'll be summing stuff up to see if the patch holds a candle to the expectations of the Darktide player base. Or just my own, because I don't really speak for any of you maniacs now, do I? The new penances are at the forefront of the update, with some of the highlights being watching players try to bash 10 grunts into the Relay Station fan event, gacha game levels of notification bombardment, and receiving class cosmetic sets that were teased 1.5 years ago. A vast majority of the new challenges are speedrunnable, and by speedrunnable I mean the average player can finish them up in a reasonable time frame, if you compare them to something like kill 2,500 enemies with explosive barrels. The main ones you'll be working towards are class-based, wild new off-the-wall penances including using your ability as intended, as well as using your ability as intended. It was initially a breath of fresh air then to see the holy grail of unwashed gamer achievements, or accented penances, play a role in the update. Much like Twin's hard mode, you'll wish for the sweet release of death while you're doing them, but afterwards you'll look upon them with a real sense of pride and accomplishment. I do have nice things to say about challenges like this. Having something to work towards that isn't just play the game, except this time with this build, is what I was looking forward to. Where it gets more exciting in that regard are the exploration penances and by extension the puzzles that come with them. Areas like the Metal Fab Hab Block washroom are the perfect place to cool off after the difficult stuff, where all the grunge and pieces of unpushed poxburster are washed away. Finally, I can simulate what it feels like to shower. More importantly, I can now uselessly hop around these places looking for these things called martyr skulls. Every map now has a location in the mission where players can attempt to collect heads. To my surprise, the majority of them weren't too hard to figure out. Some of them were even quite fun. When you finally reach the skulls, you get a bunch of plasteel, along with an exclusive chunk of Darktide lore. Most of it follows Moby and 6th Guardsmen having a really bad time fighting a war for the Imperium. A lot of it alludes to the corruption of the 6th during a campaign on Nox Alpha, which I realise might sound like complete gobbledygook. In fact, I think I'll just let you hear them for yourself.
I can't explain it, sir. The Vox lines are scrambled.
If we're here, who's killing the gene stealers at the time? Just when I finish my quirky voice line compilation, Fat Shark goes and releases another special called the Tox Bomber. He's designed to shit talk you in high gothic as he spreads the less metaphorical shit everywhere else. This green stuff acts as a big area detergent to anyone not spamming voice of command. It's not too bad on its own, but will quickly become a problem depending on how many crashes stand in wait between you and the fresh Hive City air. Although you could get away with calling him a new character. Real humans have also been introduced, or otherwise name dropped in obscure mission voice lines. In particular, we are joined by Hestia, a novitiate, which for once isn't a made-up Warhammer 40k word. Her job is to record all the accomplishments of the rejects, and to roast the everlasting hell out of the psychers like every other character on the Morningstar.
You will not be missed.
You can access her little corner of the Morningstar by pressing penances in the escape menu, although this way you won't hear her praise your other characters, so what's the point? There's a chance that she appears to supervise a couple of Noble House representatives on the revamped Hab Draco mission. I was hoping that there'd be a bit more nuance to these two, who are exactly the type of useless moustache-twirling snobs you'd expect them to be. Their presence is a bit confusing, and it's not quite clear why Rannick wants them to see us dusting the Plague Tree. Although, it is quite funny to imagine Rannick inviting them in future missions, just for them to see 4 idiots parkouring on Gothic architecture. The ship mistress herself has taken a far more active role on the Morningstar Vox comms. She actually feels like a character we'll get to see relatively soon, or Fat Shark's version of soon. As an established rogue trader and owner of the Morningstar, her main pastime is complaining about the rejects, which is fair, we can be a bit much to handle at times. It's nice to at least hear such an important character slowly become integrated into the story, and at this rate, by the time we're able to talk to her, maybe we'll even look the same age. Path of Redemption has to do a ton more than Granny Brahms on the radio to convince folks, so they've managed to fulfill some long requested quality quality of life changes, from voice and appearance editing to nerfing the omnipresent bulwark shield. Rangers no longer vacuum their axes into your hitbox so you can dodge them, and with these two annoying features of elite enemies gone, I can safely say that Auric and Maelstrom have become a paradise. Strangely enough, I don't blame people if they don't notice new voice lines or give two hoots about the new penances. So what is next for Darktide? Fatshark have said roughly what's coming up. We know the next big patch is going to have a focus on itemization and crafting. That's not all though, so while I don't have to theorize much about the near future, I'm going to anyway. If you mod your Darktide and spend 15 minutes spamming the Skull voice lines in solo, you'll hear a non-chronological clusterfuck of words coming from the mouth of a Mobian bloke during the Fringe War on Nox Alpha. They have a lot to say about our best friends, Rodin and Rinda Karnak, as well as Wolver, other random members of the Sixth, and how nasty the planet is. In Darktide fashion, there are several name drops. Gorton, Helmag, Magson, high-ranking members of the Mobes. For the sake of our sanity, we're gonna assume they all died. If you keep sniffing the voice line teasing trail, then you can assume the mysterious priests introduced to the regiment were whispering sweet nothings into Wolver's ear. It's not a crazy stretch to say that Wolver was an absolute noblord, but a loyal noblord, until the planet priest wombo combo came about. I'm hoping the cult gets fleshed out soon, since present Wolver mentions a possible cult leader called Ermal, but this doesn't really mean anything until we can attach a name to more information. Okay, this is the last whack theory, I swear. So, something I'm quite adamant on is that there's a new Ogren voice that's been snuck into the Path of Redemption update trailer. I've listened to all the combat ability lines for each Ogren personality, and it doesn't sound anything like them. So do what you will with that info, or just watch the video yourself and tell me that I'm crazy. At some point I found myself asking if all this teasing, all this build up will go anywhere in the next few months, or if we're going to get another Karnak twin situation where the new content pops up out of nowhere. I yearn for the mines, Fatshark. Send us to the lower hives already. Don't be shy. This update has just reinforced to me that we're in the calm before the storm, and Emperor be damned if it doesn't feel like filler. For my final words, I'll say that even though what we got this patch was great, Fatshark still haven't buffed the power maul. I rate this patch a very sweaty-handed 4 out of 5. See you in 3 months.